Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions is a new game from the developers of Astroneer. This is going to be a very different game, but it's still set in the same universe as Astroneer. Now here's what we know so far. Starseeker is gonna release in 2026 and it's coming to PC, Xbox Series X and S, PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2. Now don't worry, Astroneer will still continue to get updates. They've basically explained how they have a whole team working on Astroneer updates and another team working on Starseeker. So the updates for Astroneer will not stop anytime soon. As they put it, there will be updates for Astroneer for years to come. So at least they made that clear. I cannot wait for all the future updates that they've got planned for both Astroneer and Starseeker in the future. Now Starseeker is not a direct sequel to Astroneer. That's why it's not called Astroneer 2. This is more of a spin-off. So it is set in the same universe, but it's gonna have different things about it. We are gonna talk about all of these differences, but first what's really important to understand is that there will be some things that are in Astroneer and aren't in Starseeker, and there will be mechanics and items that will be in Starseeker and not in Astroneer. They want this game to work in parallel, so they will keep updating both of them. That way players who prefer one of the games will go towards that, and other players can play both of them at the same time. These are not meant to exclude each other. But I've been holding this in from the beginning of the video. We've got water. Yes, we finally have water in Astroneer. Well, in Starseeker, but in the Astroneer universe anyway. We've been wanting this for quite a while, and we don't just get water like a visual thing. We get underwater activities, diving, swimming, we get flora and fauna in the water. In one image you can actually see fish and different flora down in the water, and you see two Astroneers diving. For me, that alone is just amazing. Apparently we'll have missions that require us to go in the water and do all of these things with it, but that's not all. The water actually flows, so it's not just a biome or an environment, it's something that you can manipulate and move to your will so that you can complete missions easier or just make the perfect base that you want. So the way it works in my mind is you'll probably be able to manipulate the terrain so you can deform a path for it, and the water just flows naturally according to the laws of gravity. So that means that you should be able to create an artificial river. Now what does that mean? I don't know if they will ever take it this far, but what I want to do is to create an artificial river from one base to another and then use it to transport items that float. That's another thing. There will probably be some items that float and some that sink to the bottom. They didn't specify any of it. I'm just thinking of what would be the most natural way to include the water mechanics and physics into the gameplay, and I think that would be a very good thing if they actually add that. That would help with automation, and I'm just going out of my mind for the water here, but we've got a lot more things to discuss. So let's move over to the expeditions. Now Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions is a co-op game. It's first and foremost an online multiplayer co-op game. You will not be able to fight the other players, but you will need to work together to achieve the goals and missions. And from what I understood, new goals and missions will probably be added periodically. I'm guessing that's what expeditions mean. It takes me back to the expeditions in No Man's Sky or to the limited time events in Astroneer. These are basically a couple times a year you get a new thing that you can go through and it adds new stuff to the game. Maybe that's what they're going for here, but the name suggests that, so I'm really hoping that's what it is. We'll see, but this is not meant for single player. Obviously you can do it, nobody's stopping you. You can log in alone, but you will encounter other players in the wild. So if you just want to be alone on a planet with nobody there, you've got Astroneer for that. Starseeker is a multiplayer game, so you will see a lot of players going around doing their business. You can help each other if you want to, or you can just ignore each other. It's up to you. But this also means something else. Because the game is always online, you will need an internet connection to play this. So even if you want to just play alone, you will need to be connected to the internet. Honestly, that's not an issue for me. I'm always connected to the internet when I play any game, even if it's a single player game, but I know some people have an issue with that. However, they are making this game around all of these multiplayer and co-op mechanics, so it wouldn't really work that well in single player, so I'm guessing that's why they don't allow us this option. Another thing that's coming to Starseeker that wasn't in Astroneer is Fauna. Yes, animals are finally making an appearance in the universe of Astroneer. From what we've seen so far, we've got both friendly animals like the carrot at the beginning of the trailer and unfriendly monsters like the one from the cave. We also have this nice green thing. I guess that's a friendly one. Maybe we can tame some of them. I don't know, I've seen a lot of these carrots next to some Astroneers in the trailer, so maybe you can tame them and make them help you out with things in the wild. I don't know if animals will ever be a part of automation, but if that's the case, count me in. This is amazing. I'm all in for that. But we've seen that the monsters and animals respond differently to players. Some of them run away, some of them try to fight you. There will probably be other types of things that hunt you, or I don't know, but I'm guessing they will add more animals than we've seen in the trailer, and probably after the official release of the game with further expeditions and updates, I think they will add more animals, especially since we're gonna have a lot of planets in a lot of solar systems. Let's talk about that. There will be multiple planets, and they're not all in the same solar system like we are used to in Astroneer, but these will be scattered around the whole universe within multiple galaxies that you can travel to via the ESS Starseeker, which we're gonna talk about in more detail in just a minute. But for now, just know these planets are handcrafted, so they are not randomly generated. That means every time you load the game, a specific planet will be the same planet. So if there's a landmark on it, like let's say the waterfall from the trailer, if that's on a planet, that will always be on the same spot of that planet. So no matter if I log in now or tomorrow, or if somebody else from the other side of the world logs in, they will find that waterfall in that section of that specific planet. This allows them to make this much more intricate. You can see it in the trailer, there's much more verticality, everything's much more lush and dense. They can actually pay attention to all of these details now because it's not procedurally generated. So this is not just AI building the planet once you load the game, this is handcrafted. And that's a really good thing because now there will be more ways to interact with the terrain. So the planets are not just for digging up anymore, you can do more stuff with them. So let's talk about the interaction. After the trailer, they have received a lot of answers about can you still deform the terrain, because we don't see any terrain deformation in the trailer, but they assured us afterwards that you will still be able to deform the terrain. So I'm happy to see they're keeping that in. However, you can do a lot more stuff with it. First of all, we can now climb the terrain. You can see two Astroneers in the back there just climbing up a rock formation. So I don't know if you can climb on anything or on just specific types of soil or on designated spots, or do you need a special tool to climb? We don't know yet, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But they also said that you can climb on other things. They just teased this, so we don't know what that means. But they said terrain is not the only thing you can climb on. So can we climb on some structures, some modules? Can we just build a ladder and go up something? Can we just use a printer to build a ladder and get to a higher spot that way, sort of Death Stranding style? Apart from interacting with the terrain, we will also be able to interact with the water. As I said, we can dive in it, we can swim, we can do all sorts of stuff. Items will probably interact with the water. I don't expect them to just go through or all of them to float. So I'm guessing every item, and especially the vehicles, will have to somehow interact with the water. We haven't seen any vehicles yet in the trailer, so I don't know if that's gonna be a thing or not. But anyway, you can interact with the water, and that's most important. That's the most exciting thing about it. It's not just a visual thing, it actually flows, it has physics, it has gravity, it interacts with the world around it, and you can interact with it. So I'm just imagining a lot of ways to mess this up and do a lot of weird things with the water. I can't wait for that. But let's talk about the tools, because the terrain tool seems to look kind of similar, but it has these weird attachments on it that seem to do a variety of different things. Now this is way different from anything we have in Astroneer. First of all, we've got a scanner. We can see an Astroneer just scanning a thing there. I don't know what that means. Will we still have the buy thing with the research that you unlock items to craft? Is that still a thing, or do we now scan items in the wild? And what happens when we scan them? Do we get bytes from scanning something new, or is this scanner gonna be more like the scanner in Subnautica, where you scan a new item that you've never seen before and you get some lore on it and some more information, and that's part of the world building and the storytelling? I don't know what the scanner will do in Starseeker, but whatever it does, it looks really cool. Then we also see some sort of water gun. I'm not sure it's a water gun, it might just be a gun, but that's kind of what it looks. So I don't know if you can use that to fight monsters. I don't know if it actually works as a gun. If that's water, and this is a water gun, my suspicion is that you will be able to add water. So let's say I build a base and it's a nice little thing there, and I want to have a pond in front, like I want a little lake there. I can just dig a hole, and then I can take my water gun and fill it up with water. We didn't see enough in the trailer, but maybe that's what it is. Now I'm also curious, does the water despawn? Because if the water from the water cannon or water gun, if that's even what it is, if it despawns, then you can't do that, and you should just use it to fight animals or fight somebody or do something with it. But I don't think it would be just that. So I really think you will be able to actually place water somewhere, or at least move it from one place to another. Again, the water physics just seem really cool to me, and I want to see more of that. But after that we also see a big gun. This looks like some sort of cannon or flamethrower or something like that. However, this is definitely a gun that you probably use to fight monsters. I'm guessing you will eventually get to kill the monsters. We see one coming out of the cave. It was camouflaged there in the back looking like a rock formation, but it comes out and lets out a big roar. I'm guessing you can use that gun to fight it. I don't know, can you fight it if you don't have that specific tool? If you just have some other tools, are there other ways to deal damage? We don't know know that that's a thing, we don't know that it's not a thing, so we're just gonna have to wait and find out, but I'm just speculating here. And then we also see an Astroneer using some sort of vacuum thing, and this one looks the most similar to the terrain tool in Astroneer. That guy was probably gathering some resources, but it wasn't deforming the terrain to do it. So I'm not sure if he just went to a resource node and did that to get the resource out of it without deforming the terrain. I really don't know if that's what it is, but we had something similar in Astroneer back in the day before they took it out a couple years ago, I think. You could go up to these spires that would give you resin and compound, and then you had others for oxygen and for power, and you would use your terrain tool on it, but no terrain would be deformed, you would just take a resource out of that. I don't know if that's how things will work in Starseeker, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, we'll probably get even more tools in the future. I don't think they showed all of them in this trailer. This is just a game announcement, the teaser trailer. Will get more in the future, and obviously we'll get all of it when the game releases. But let's talk about the backpacks. I really think we're finally getting backpack upgrades, which I've been waiting for years and years at this point. You can see these wingsuits. There's backpacks with wings, so you can get wings on your backpack. You can either craft a backpack that has wings, or you can upgrade your backpack to have wings. Either way, you can do things to your backpack. This makes me very hopeful. Maybe we'll finally get a storage upgrade to the backpack. Everybody has been asking for that in Astroneer for I don't know how many years, 8 years at this point, ever since the game came out in early access. Everybody wants a storage upgrade. Maybe we'll finally get that in Starseeker. I don't know why you would have different backpacks if you didn't have different functionalities. And I don't think that's just because of the suit they are wearing. I don't think it's just a visual thing. Maybe some tools only work with a specific backpack. Maybe some backpacks can store different items. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know, maybe one suit can hold liquids and another one can hold solids, or maybe to use the cannon flamethrower looking thing, maybe that's a flamethrower and you're gonna need some gas in your backpack so that you have something to ignite and actually use the flamethrower. I'm not sure if things will work interconnectedly like that, or if you could use any tool with any backpack, but it does appear that we have multiple backpacks, so that's why I'm thinking they probably serve different purposes. Next we need to talk about the ESS Starseeker. They have said this is like the main character of the game, and this is the main hub. This is where we will probably be when you load up the game. As you can see in the trailer, there's a lot of people just running around, and these are probably just players looking for their next mission or gameplay opportunity or whatever they're trying to do. This is your hub where you could probably upgrade your things, get new tools, get new items, get schematics, blueprints, and this is probably where you select your next expedition. We've already talked about expeditions earlier, so the ESS Starseeker is your main hub from where you take them, and this is also a space station. This is mobile, so it's gonna go from galaxy to galaxy. That makes me think that probably every month or two the ESS Starseeker will be in a different galaxy, and you can do some specific activities from there. You've got this named expedition, whatever it is, and you've got these new missions in here, and then the station moves on to something else next month. That's how I personally see it. I don't know if that's actually exactly how it's gonna work, but I would be really shocked if it doesn't work like that. And in the middle of the ESS Starseeker we see a schematic blueprint type thing that looks very similar to the blueprints for an Astroneer module. I don't know if the thing depicted there is something that you can craft in Starseeker. It's definitely not something that you can craft in Astroneer. I don't think we've seen anything like it, but that might be what it is, and that might be the place in the main hub where you unlock new schematics and new blueprints and stuff like that. So this might be what that is. But we should also talk about the story of Starseeker. We know nothing so far, but I expect there to be a core storyline at release. So we'll get this set of missions on these planets, and then this whole story will get expanded with further expeditions, which are gonna be the periodic updates that come to this game, and you would just expand that base story by going to other planets or doing other things on the planets that you already have, or both of them at the same time. I don't know. Now, because Starseeker is set in the same universe as Astroneer, the lore from Astroneer still stands, so everything that we have learned about the story of Astroneer while playing that game will still be true in the universe of Starseeker. So this will just expand on the Astroneer lore. It shouldn't contradict anything within it. Again, I said this before, but Starseeker is not a direct sequel to Astroneer. This is not Astroneer 2. This is a different game, like a spin-off. This is its own unique thing. They are parallel games. They each have different functionalities, and they are for different types of players that want different things from their games, so that everyone can do something in the universe of Astroneer. Now, I'm obviously gonna play both of them like crazy because I love the universe of Astroneer and all of that. But another thing that's really important about Starseeker Starseeker is that this is not going to be a free-to-play game. I'm relieved to hear that because I don't like all that free-to-play game nonsense where they shove microtransactions down your throat because you didn't pay for the game, so they need to make money somehow. In a recent Q&A, the developers of Starseeker basically said they hate free-to-play games and they would never do that to their audience. Yeah, that's kind of what they said, that's what they meant anyway. So this will not be a free-to-play game, you will just pay a price up front and then they will leave you alone. There will be no microtransactions shoved down your throat. Of course, maybe we will have cosmetics, we do have cosmetics in Astroneer, but those are okay. They are not needed for the gameplay. Honestly, I don't really care about the cosmetics. I think the best ones are the ones that you can unlock during the limited time events, and that's probably gonna still be the case for Starseeker. So knowing that it's not gonna be free to play is really good news for me. Now make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future updates about Astroneer, Starseeker and more, and let me know down in the comment section below, what do you think about Starseeker? What do you think about all of this? Are you excited? Are you not excited? What do you expect for the game? Do you have any ideas for what it could include? Please let me know in the comments below, and as always I will respond to all of them. And if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you left a like. Thanks for doing that, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, Astroneers!